So the way we eat today with our super clean eating, we're not getting probiotics. And so we actually have to take them. And I wrote an article once about take your poop pills, because really what you're taking is bacteria from what? From the colon. That's what E. coli is, lactobacillus, all that stuff. These are stuff that are normally found in your colon or should be in your colon. The gut needs the bacteria, but it's not just the bacteria. You also have to have something to feed the bacteria, because if you don't feed them, then they're not going to continue to grow.
There it is. Hello, everyone. Thanks for hopping on. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Just kidding, it's Wednesday. This week's gotten away from me a little bit. Dr. Saunders, how you doing?
Doing great. Great. It's like an amazing day in Santa Barbara. It's 70 degrees, and that's the problem with Santa Barbara. Every day you have to say, it's a beautiful day.
Ah, man, that's rough.
It's rough. It's tough. It's hard.
Well, it's a pretty nice day here in South Dakota. It's 64 degrees and sunny. And I haven't been outside yet, though. That's the sad part. But lots going on. Lots of good stuff. Well, thanks for hopping on, everybody. This is the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar with Barton Publishing and Barton Nutrition. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Barton, and we've got Dr. Scott Saunders from Santa Barbara, California, and Leslie Prinz is running the show behind the scenes, making sure everything works properly and recording us and all that good stuff and moderating and chatting with you guys. So thanks for hopping on. Why don't you shoot a little chat message in the Zoom chat and tell us, well, where you're from and what the weather is like with you. I mean, what's more exciting than weather chat, right? Especially in June. I love June. June is a great month. It's my birthday month. It's always nice and warm. You don't have to worry about snowstorms on your raining out your birthday party. Well, rain, but snowing. Yeah, all that good stuff. Hello, Anku. Good to see you from Columbus, Ohio. All right. Go Buckeyes. And Vilo and Barbie, I believe. Yes. All right.
All our friends are on.
All right.
Yay.
Good stuff. Looking forward to meeting some of you as well soon, hopefully in August at the Healing House in Arizona. Get some more updates on that. I don't know if we're going to get to that today or not, but very soon. So greetings. There's a new name I haven't seen before, Jayabo. That I'm probably butchering how to pronounce that name, but that is a wonderful name from Pittsburgh. Maybe help us a little bit with the pronunciation on that. We've got Bonita and Tamra and Connie and Raul. Excellent. Good stuff. Beautiful day all around. Man, we've been having some storms around here. We had 2 storms in the last 2 weeks. What's it called? A derecho? Like 100-mile-an-hour straight winds. And I don't know, 3 days ago, we had, 80-mile-an-hour winds that blew the roof off of a church. It had to be a tornado that hit that thing because it just like ripped the roof off. So that was kind of sad, but thankfully, I think everybody's been safe for the most part. But all right. Well, today we are going to talk. I think this is the week. Every other week we talk about, everything is related to type 2 diabetes for the most part. But once a week, every other week we talk about the basics of type 2. And we talk about like the diabetes solution kit, which I've got a copy of right here. And this is like the handbook, the guide that we have been teaching for 10 plus years. But this week and every other week, we kind of pick a special topic to focus on. And so this week we talked or we got an idea actually from Velo and Barbie about talking about our supplements. Like, yeah, let's dig in. Like, let's share a little bit more about all the different supplements that Barton Nutrition offers. And so we're going to get into that. Now, quick disclaimer, Dr. Saunders is a legit doctor, but he's not yours. So speak with your own before making any changes to your health. Not our fault if you do something that, you think we told you to do. But so here's the Barton Nutrition supplement catalog. You can find all of our products on bartonnutrition.com. We started with a blood sugar supplement, and that is our CinnaChroma product. This is a 6-ingredient product that we're going to start with that one today. So Dr. Saunders, you're the formulator of all these supplements. And, interesting quick little fact, Dr. Saunders is not a huge supplement proponent. Like, he's like, hey, if you can do it without supplements, that's the best way to do it. If you can do it with diet and lifestyle. But there are some times where, people need nutrients that they aren't getting from their lifestyle or from the diet. And so Dr. Saunders, talk about CinnaChroma, because that's the first one we did together. And yeah, let's get into it. What is it? How does it help?
Okay, so just like you were saying, Joe, the supplements are not the end all be all of everything. And one of the issues that I had when I had naturopathic doctors working in my office is most often people would go home with, armfuls of supplements. They'd spend $300,000, $500,000 on supplements. And then they'd go home and they'd be popping this pill after another. I had one woman came in, her name was Hilda, and she was in her 80s and very healthy. And she came in with 2 shopping bags filled with supplements. And so we stacked them up. I divided them all out, stacked them up. And I'm like, okay, Hilda, what are we going to do with all this? She goes, well, that's what I want to know. She says, I spend all day and I have one of these 7 across, 5 down pill containers. And she's opening the little windows and putting a pill in each one of them, and then opening the other window for more pills and opening the pills. And she spends like hours doing that every week. And she said, I want to just get down to what do I actually need? And so we looked at all the things, and there were a couple of a good multivitamin and a good other one and some mineral supplement. Okay, this. These are the ones you need. These 4, are the ones you need. The others you could take or not, either way. It's just like, having extra, whatever. And she said, but I spend thousands of dollars on that. I don't want to just throw them in the trash. I said, okay, here's what you do. You take that big protein bottle, that jar, dump the protein out, and then take each one of those and dump them into that big protein jar, shake it up, and take 2 or 3 of them out every day. Just randomly take 2 or 3 out. If it's the same one, it doesn't even matter. And that way, you're going to get what? All the benefits over a period of time. You're going to get all the benefits of getting those supplements, those nutrients, without any of the risks of taking them every single day. And so she did that, and it made her life a lot easier to not have to take all those. So me getting people off of pills includes getting off of supplements. So why do I even have supplements? Well, here you go, CinnaChroma, what Joe was just talking about. Why should anybody have CinnaChroma? Well, we're dealing with people who have type 2. They have a problem. They have an issue. I don't know what that issue is exactly, but I will tell you this, that I do a lot of testing, and I find almost everybody, very few exceptions, are deficient in chromium, because I test people with diabetes, right? Very few exceptions are people that have sufficient vanadium. So most people are deficient in chromium, vanadium, selenium. Those are very common deficiencies. Vitamin D, I test almost everybody that comes in, and I could count on maybe two hands in 20 years of testing, thousands of people, I can count on two hands the number of people who had adequate levels of vitamin D without any supplementation. And then if you have vitamin D, you really need vitamin K. And sure, you could have enough vitamin K if you're eating green vegetables, but how many people eat enough green vegetables? I don't actually test everybody for vitamin K levels. If I put people on vitamin D, I put them on vitamin K because why? Vitamin D makes you absorb the calcium. The vitamin K takes that calcium and puts it into your bones. If you don't have the vitamin K, what happens? Well, it goes into your arteries or goes out in your kidneys and you make kidney stones. So just to make sure everything functions right, you need both of them. So that's the way I formulated this. This wasn't just a random formulation, which I have noticed, by the way. If you look at supplements, most supplements are just randomly formulated. You just throw a whole bunch of things together and go, okay, this is a diabetes supplement. Why? Well, because we put gymnema sylvestre and we put berberine and we put cinnamon and we put everything that might have something to do with diabetes, we put a little bit of something in. That's no way to handle a true supplement. You need the correct dosing of everything. And that's what we did. We took, what is it going to take to get adequate levels of vitamin D? Well, you need between 5 and 10,000 a day. So what did we put in? We put in 5,000. If you take 2 a day, you're getting 10,000. Perfect, right? How much selenium is going to be, how much of each thing. So you're not going to find a supplement that we made that just has random stuff like a whole bunch of junk thrown together. It's always going to be very specifically formulated. This is what this is for. And so with the formulation of CinnaChroma, chromium, vanadium, selenium. Selenium helps you make glutathione that helps decrease inflammation, prevents you from getting neuropathy. And also is very important for the proper functioning of the thyroid gland so that your diabetes is more stable. There's a lot of reasons for putting these things together. Selenium and then vitamin D and then the cinnamon bark extract. So why did we choose cinnamon bark extract? Well, we figured that if people are going to go off of medications, they're going to need some help for improving their glycemic index or their insulin sensitivity. So we looked at all the things out there, and the cinnamon bark, it's common, it's easy to get, it works really well. It's been tested for years and years and years, and there's plenty of experience with it. So we go, okay, that's going to be our choice. So we didn't just throw a bunch of things together. So then we said, how much are we going to need? We need this much. So it's all tested and it's all used. In fact, for me, this is my general daily supplement. Why? Because it gives me enough vitamin D, and it gives me the things that are in this supplement are things that are common deficiencies. In other words, I'm not going to get selenium from my food. I'm not going to get chromium from my food in significant amounts. And I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and beans, and I eat good food, but still, because we're in the United States, our soil doesn't have enough nutrients. So these are the things that are needed. So that's where CinnaChroma came from. It didn't come from just throwing a bunch of things together. So these are the exact things I've tested, and this is what people need.
Yeah. So what's worked well for me in my life in different areas is like the concept of stacking different things. And so we have the diabetes solution kit, which has all the information about everything, but then it's about implementing different things. So changing your diet to, lower carbs, exercising more, going to bed on an empty stomach at 10 o'clock at night so you can maximize your repair cycle with human growth hormone production, reducing stress, all of that. And then supplementation is a part of that as well. And so the more things that you do like that, the healthier you're going to feel, And the healthier you're going to look, the more energy you're going to have, the more you're going to actually love getting up in the morning and love life. And like, what's the value of that? So, you know, supplements can be expensive. Like, I understand that. Like, it's not cheap to have, you know, multiple supplements that you need, but like, if you look at it for what value they bring to your life, like, I think it's something definitely worth trying, you know, again. And the supplements that we formulate and that we manufacture are all done in like top-notch pharmaceutical grade manufacturing facilities with, you know, all the testing, certified lab tests and all that kind of stuff. And then when you combine that with our 365-day money back guarantee on supplements, like, you really can't lose. Like, it's something that you might as well try it, see how you feel, and like stacking those things as well. So let's move on to the second one on my list and in the catalog, and that's going to be turmeric. So Turmeric BP Plus, this is the bottle, and this is what we promote with CinnaChroma to complement that, because inflammation is such a huge factor in our health or lack thereof. So Dr. Saunders, can you talk about turmeric, that supplement, as well as like inflammation?
Okay, so then you're going to ask, well, why didn't we just throw the turmeric in with the CinnaChroma, right? Because well, part of it is that we wanted a turmeric that was going to be useful. And so a lot of supplements that are just thrown together, you get the rhizome, the root part of the turmeric, and they just grind it up and put it in a pill, and they go, there's your turmeric pill. And you know, that's fine, and that's somewhat useful, but what you don't know is that you don't absorb very much of that. It's not absorbed easily at all. Turmeric is something that you know, you have to eat a lot of to get a small amount of it. But there is something that has been found to increase the absorption of the curcumin in it, and that is a black pepper. So if you look at it, it's called Turmeric BP. And you thought that was for like Barton Publishing or something like that, but it's not. It's black pepper. The turmeric BP is black pepper. And why is that important? Because that increases the absorption by 20 times. So you actually get the benefit from the pill. Whereas otherwise, like other pills that don't have that, you're getting such a tiny portion that you'd have to take, you know, 20 pills in order to get the same amount. So if you're eating like a curry or something like that has turmeric in it, make sure you put black pepper in it, because then you get the added benefit of the turmeric when you're using it as a spice too. It's the same thing, you know, and you can get what's in turmeric BP as a spice if you were to eat it on a regular basis. So why would we have this? Well, because inflammation is a common problem, and this is what a lot of people deal with, especially if you have type 2. There's inflammation causes the blood sugar to go up. And there was a study done on turmeric, and there was another study done on omega-3 oils and ibuprofen. When you lower inflammation, you improve blood sugar. So by lowering inflammation. So and it doesn't have to be turmeric. We chose turmeric because why? It's safe, it's effective, it's safer than aspirin. Aspirin actually causes more deaths a year than, it's not really safe. Ibuprofen can cause heart attacks. The NSAIDs, the prescription NSAIDs, you know, cause heart attacks. Whereas turmeric is something that is been around for centuries, been used for many centuries, a lot of experience. And so So why did we put this separately? Well, because you have inflammation separately. Some people have inflammation, some people don't. And if we have this turmeric supplement, then if you have something like, let's say you're having headaches or joint pains or arthritis or something else, you can just take the turmeric. And so you would have this as a separate ingredient. And so the way I formulated it was to have the curcumin and the root together. Why did I do that? Because I don't know why, but I'll tell you this, that my experience is that when you have the whole plant, the whole root, the whole whatever, it's better than just isolating out that tiny part, the business end, so to speak. It turns out that isolating out chemicals is not always the best, and I've looked at that because of vitamins. If I look at vitamin E and you're taking D-L-alpha tocopherol and that's all you get, and you don't know that there's alpha, beta, gamma tocopherols and then all the tocotrienols, and that all makes vitamin D in nature. But we isolate it out and go, this is the active form, but it's not as healthy as having all of them together. Same with vitamin C and bioflavonoids. So I don't know what else is in that turmeric root, but I put it in there. Because why? Because it's probably going to synergistically work and help the curcumin work better. And we assume that, and there's some evidence for that, but it's an unknown. I got to tell you the truth that it's unknown, but there was a reason for it.
Yeah, there's a study that says it was 19 times more effective when you had the root extract included in the formula. So yeah, that was from the if I can read that small print, the NIH, boy, that is really small print. I don't have my glasses on, but well, yeah, that's good stuff. And really inflammation, we hear about it more and more all the time. It's a factor in heart disease, cancer, diabetes, metabolic issues, pretty much anything that kills us. Inflammation is a big factor. And so if you can keep that down through diet, through supplementation, through exercise, that's going to keep us optimally performing these amazing bodies of ours. So, all right, let's keep moving here. We're going to talk about Nervala next. This is our green bottle, Nervala. This helps people with nerve pain, neuropathy. We like to say it cools down your overheated engine. And I use this myself when I have a hard time sleeping at night. If I get hot feet, hot legs, restless, that kind of stuff, I'll take a Nervala before bed, and that helps me out. Now, I don't have type 2 or anything like that, but the ingredients in Nervala are helpful for a lot of different things. You want to get into that, Dr. Saunders?
Yeah. So again, here you have something that clearly people with diabetes are going to need, and most of them will. So why did we separate this out? Well, because not everybody has neuropathy, and when we have a separate supplement for it, then we can dose it higher too, because there was evidence that up to 1,200 milligrams of alpha lipoic acid was beneficial in people that had more neuropathy. So we could dose it differently if we had supplements. So again, it's really simple, just 2 ingredients. And these 2 ingredients, though, have plenty of research behind them, both individually and together, to show that they improve neuropathy in specifically diabetes, but other neuropathy as well. Peripheral neuropathy, a certain type of neuropathy where the longest nerves, which is why the feet are the most affected by neuropathy, is because the nerve cell is actually in the spinal column, and that nerve axon has to go all the way down the leg to the foot. And so it's really susceptible to a poor circulation, lack of oxygen, over that long travel that the nerve has to propagate a wave, an impulse, a nerve impulse. So because of that, people generally get neuropathy first in their feet. And then as it moves up the legs, as you get more neuropathy at the legs, then you start feeling in your fingers too. So this was formulated to reverse that. Benfotiamine is a type of vitamin B1, but it's a fat soluble type of vitamin B1, which means it doesn't have to be taken into cells. It goes right into cell membranes. So when you take it in high doses, what it does is it helps repair the lining of the blood vessels so that blood flows better. So it improves blood flow. Alpha lipoic acid is an anti-inflammatory to help the nerves to repair. So you have two different mechanisms that are working here. It's not one thing, and they work synergistically to improve flow, to improve nerve function. We've had a lot of people. I've had in my office here, I've had a lot of people that I try. You know, they have neuropathy for other reasons. They have poor circulation for not with necessarily with diabetes, but also that they get better, and sometimes they feel worse at first, and that's kind of one of the clues that it's starting to work is your feet are numb and they start getting tingly, and you go, I hate that tingly feeling. But that's a good thing. That means the nerves are waking up. They're starting to work. So, yeah, I've had people say, "No, I got to quit it. It's messing up my nerves." No, it's working. That's how you know.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Before I forget, so if you're interested in buying any of these supplements that Dr. Saunders is talking about, go to bartonnutrition.com and you can save an additional 25% off your entire purchase when you use the coupon code webinar25. It might be called a promo code, but it's webinar25. You just enter that in during the checkout process and it'll take that off of your order. And also you can go to bartonnutrition.com and just poke around, look at the different products, read the write-ups on it, more information. Dr. Saunders has a couple different videos explaining them. And we've also received quite a few product reviews from customers that have been using these products, and all of them are over 4-star rated, and which we get reviews in quite often. But it's fun to read the stories, and even right now we're getting people chiming in how much these different products have helped. Like the Nervala, CinnaChroma, for sure. Heard a lot of things about the turmeric, and so we're gonna get right into the next one. Now this one is called questions. Go ahead. Yeah.
Should we go to questions?
Yeah.
It's 11:30, I hope. Hey, Leslie.
Hi. So I lost my connection, but so I'm no longer able to see any of the chat or the comments from when I lost it, I guess.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So if you're able to help with those, but I am just going to quick read this comment from Aileen. She says, I can't tell you how much Nervala has helped me. I haven't had fire in my right hand and left foot in quite a long time, and I can now get enough sleep. Thank you. So that is awesome.
Yeah. We had a couple of questions people asking, like, can I take more than one CinnaChroma? I think one person was taking 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon or evening, and it was helping them require less insulin and things like that. So can you talk about that, Scott?
Yes. Okay. So remember, we formulated it for on the low side, 1 a day is enough. So that's what we call a physiologic dose. And then if you take 2 a day, you're a super physiologic dose. And then if you take 4 a day, that's pharmacologic dosing. So you would get about 4 a day would be 20,000 units of vitamin D a day, which is fine. That's what you make if you go out in the sunshine on a summer day and expose a significant portion of your skin. You'll make 20,000 units easily. And so your body will naturally make 20,000 units a day. So you're not at any risk of overdosing at all on taking 4 a day. And then the selenium is the only one that can become toxic, but you would need more than 1 milligram a day, which would be 5 a day plus. So up to 4 a day is a reasonable amount. I would say that's the pharmacologic dosing.
I know there's been questions in the past about vitamin D overdose, and I think the risk with that was related to the calcium, and you talked about that a little bit. But because we did put the vitamin K in there, the K is actually what pretty much removes that risk of the calcium buildup, which can cause problems. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So you really can't get too much vitamin D, you know. And I mean, what would you need? Several 100,000 IUs per day for a long time, almost.
Yeah, there's been studies of in people in a coma. They give them shots of 1 million units of vitamin D at one time, and just once a year they get a 1 million unit vitamin D shot, because they'll break down their bones because they're not, using their muscles. They're in a coma, so so they just give them vitamin D in high dose, like 1 million units. So
yeah. Someone mentioned having a hard time taking tablets. Almost all of ours are in the capsule form, and so they're gelatin based or cellulose, actually cellulose, not gelatin for most of these. So they go down easier, if you can take one at a time, but otherwise you can easily like open those things up and put them into a smoothie if you want to do it that way. Then you don't have to worry about swallowing pills if you struggle with that. That's if there's a lot of vitamin. Yeah,
that's what my daughter did. She just broke them open and put them in a smoothie.
Yeah, sometimes you can get some some pretty ripe tasting, like vitamin B, niacin, I think is pretty pungent, strong, but for the most part, you won't even taste them in a smoothie. So let's see. Let's
taste it.
It just makes you feel strong. Okay, so next one, Healthy Gut Support. This one matches my hoodie. This is, so we renamed it Healthy Gut Restore. It's the exact same product as Healthy Gut Support. The only difference is we just changed it because there was a supply issue with the trademarked forms of the probiotics, and so we just went to a non-trademarked form of the exact same probiotics so that we could keep things in stock. There's no difference in effectiveness or anything like that. And it's actually a few cents cheaper to produce or something as well. So it's like, well, we might as well do that then. So, but this has apple pectin, betaine HCl, aloe vera. We have an enzyme blend, which is protease, lipase, and amylase. And then the probiotic blend with all sorts of different healthy bacteria. And then finally, we got fructo-oligosaccharides. So this has prebiotics, probiotics, and digestive enzymes. I love this product. Lots of people take this. It helps reduce gas and bloating and digestive issues, upset stomachs. This is great. Tell us about this, Dr. Saunders.
So this was Healthy Gut Restore was formulated with the idea of what does a healthy gut need, and it turns out that we need probiotics. And if you think of what over generations, if you look back, the way human beings lived, the peas porridge in the pot 9 days old had a lot of probiotics in it. And your kimchi or sauerkraut or yogurt, they had a lot of probiotics in them. But the way we make things today is we make the sauerkraut and then we bottle the sauerkraut. In the process of bottling it, guess what? We kill all the bacteria in it, all of it. And then in the process of manufacturing the yogurt, it gets pasteurized and we kill all the bacteria or the yeast and bacteria that are in there. And then they say with active cultures, and they may add a drop of active cultures into the top of that yogurt, because you get a better shelf life if you pasteurize it. So, so the way we eat today with our super clean eating, we're not getting probiotics. And so we actually have to take them. And I wrote an article once about take your poop pills, because really what you're taking is bacteria from what? From the colon. You know, that's what E. coli is, lactobacillus, all that stuff. These are stuff that are normally found in your colon or should be in your colon. Anyway, so that the gut needs the bacteria, but it's not just the bacteria. You also have to have something to feed the bacteria, because if you don't feed them, then they're not going to continue to grow. So we added in some different kinds of fiber that these bacteria need to grow, so that you're not just throwing bacteria in there without anything for them to live on. And then betaine hydrochloride is something that increases the acid in the stomach. Why is that important? Well, because when people have low acid, they get acid reflux. And that was a big surprise. You know, when the gastroenterologist started testing pH in the stomach, they found that people with the most acid reflux didn't have high acid, they had low acid. And so people who don't make enough acid are not digesting proteins well, because the proteins are molecules, they're large, long strings of amino acids that are all wadded up in a ball, and you have to put them in an acid environment to denature them so that the enzymes can chop them up and you can digest your food properly. So the betaine increases the acid so that can function properly, so the enzymes can function properly, and then we put the enzymes in there so that they can function. So all of that works together so you can digest and absorb and then have the good bacteria growing in your intestines. So everything should function well hopefully this should help everything function well.
Yeah, well, that's good. So for the sake of time, we have about 22 minutes left or so here. We have had some good questions that have come in. I think we'll do another episode where we cover the rest of our supplements, but I do want to just run through quick just to give people an idea if they are loading up their shopping carts today. So immune support, this is really good. A lot of stuff in here. Vitamin C. Where are my glasses? No. Vitamin E, zinc, NAC, elderberry, green tea, reishi mushroom, echinacea, and quercetin. If those sound familiar, and if the old 19 virus, remedies ring a bell, like, yeah, this stuff is really good for that. Easy relief magnesium spray. This is a topical transdermic. I don't know. Transdermal. Okay. You spray it all over your body, just wipe it in, and it absorbs through the skin. Your body takes in how much it needs. We'll get into this next time. This is NeuroMetabolic iodine. This you mix in with water. We've noticed that this really helps with energy. It's almost like a shot of caffeine or something. Like my wife says, don't take this after like 4 o'clock in the afternoon because you'll be up for a long time. But lots of benefits for thyroid, metabolism. We'll talk about that later. We've got lean ACV, apple cider vinegar. Somebody mentioned that in a comment here. This is good for controlling appetite, balancing your pH levels, and weight loss, fat burning, that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that later. NiagraXL. So this is something men were telling us when we talked to them on the phone. They're like, hey, do you have anything for ED? I'm struggling here. I'm on metformin. Metformin is a huge cause of ED in men and libido issues and stuff. So this has some natural ingredients that helps restore that. Along with everything else, if you can get yourself off of metformin, that's the best thing to do. There's a couple other things here. Oh, FiberGreens. Right here. This is our newest product. We're actually having a hard time keeping this on the shelf. So we've got a new batch in process, hope to get in a couple weeks. We still have a few bottles left on the store, so we're just not like promoting it too heavily right now. So those are most of our products. We'll get into these other ones in detail on a call in the future here, but let's get to the questions, Leslie. I know you're chomping at the bit, as my dad would say.
I cannot see most of them. So if you're able to go back to the beginning to see any.
Okay, no problem. I can do that. Okay, so Cindy and David, they were talking about FiberGreens, soluble fiber versus insoluble fiber. Which one is in FiberGreens? And, you know, there's the bulking part of fiber, and then there's the other that helps with constipation.
Okay, both are important, and both are there, and that's why it's important to have a mixture of different kinds of fiber, because different kinds of fiber grow different kinds of bacteria, and what you want is a broad spectrum. So yeah, it's both. They're both soluble and insoluble.
Okay, what do you recommend to get rid of COVID? Somebody that's had it 4 times already, horrible cough. What do you recommend?
Okay, if you've had it 4 times, then you have an issue. You need like immune support. You need vitamin D. You need zinc. And Joe has just put up that immune support supplement. You're probably missing something. You shouldn't be getting this over and over again. Or if you're under a lot of stress does suppress the immune system as well. So make sure you're getting vitamin D though. If you've had it 4 times, gee, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. All right. So Brian says, Dr. Saunders, help! I'm losing too much weight. I'm in phase 2 at 40 grams of carbs, losing a pound a day. I started at 185 and I'm now at 150. I should be at 170 or so. Blood sugar checks typically in the 90s. 2 days last week at 106. Also, what's the deal with sugar alcohols?
Okay. So losing too much weight. What that usually means is that your insulin resistance has dropped down, and so your insulin levels are low. And when you don't have insulin, you can't put on weight, and you'll start using weight, using up your fat and losing weight. A pound a day, that's what people get when they're fasting. If you're on phase 2, you should be able to add in more foods by now. And increase your food intake and eat like maybe 3 solid meals a day. And then the sugar alcohols are, they're sweet, first of all, and they may cause insulin resistance. Some people will tolerate them well, that's fine. They can cause diarrhea, and often they can affect the bacteria in your intestines, and they can change the types of bacteria that you have. So I usually recommend when you're on phase 1, avoid sugar alcohols. When you're on phase 2, that's where you're testing and you can try it to see if it's okay for you.
All right. Once again, if you're interested in any of these supplements, go to bartonnutrition.com. Use the coupon code webinar25. You'll save 25%. That also helps us to track how many people are ordering products from the webinar. And we appreciate you guys, and we want to give you the best prices possible. So, all right, good stuff. Let's get to the next question here. What supplements do you recommend for double vision?
Oh, if you have double vision, you need to find out why you have double vision, because it's not normal to have double vision. You know, I could go through a list of things that could cause double vision. Some of them are really bad, like you gotta know so you deal with that. Some of them are just like you gotta fix the eyeball, for example. Sometimes I've had a couple of kids that have had surgery on the muscles of their eyes to pull that muscle back a little bit so that it pops the eye into place so that they can not have double vision. So finding out why you have double vision is the most important. There's no supplement for that. That is something that you need to do some tests.
All right. Okay, we talked about vitamin D. What's a good number for vitamin D and how much vitamin K per day? My specialist doctor said I should be in the 80s for vitamin D per day.
Oh yeah, vitamin D in the 80s is awesome. So
and
that's a
a
good place to be.
and that's a test number, right? Like if you test your
Yeah.
levels, that's where you'd be at. But the amount to actually take per day, you talked about 5,000 a day as kind of a maintenance
Yeah,
amount that I use.
between 5,000 and 10,000 a day is a good dose to take. But if
Yeah.
you're doing a test, you want it to between 50 and 100 is the place to be. So that's why your specialist said 80.
All right. Okay, what do we got here? CinnaChroma, is it more effective to take it in the morning?
We recommend that you take it with food, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so it's absorbed better with a meal because that's when you you release your bile from the liver that helps you absorb fat soluble things. So that's part of it, and the other part is some of the minerals, even though they're tiny amounts, sometimes people they get the stomach upset when they take minerals on an empty stomach. So we recommend taking it with food. And why in the morning? Well, because when you're taking the cinnamon in the morning, that's going to help you throughout the day to have more insulin sensitivity. So yes, it's recommended in the morning.
All right. Somebody asked if they can get CinnaChroma on sale without including, I think they bundled it with immune support. So I'm going to search my emails and try to find a link for you, Rosalind. But Leslie, do you have some questions you can take over here while I do that?
Yep, I can see these.
Right.
Here's a message from Connie. Remind people that for leg and foot cramps, use apple cider vinegar. It works great. You just put a teaspoon or so in a cup or a glass of water and drink. If it's hard to swallow, you can add more water. Okay, thank you for that. That's good. Also good for acid reflux. Okay, for Dr. Saunders, I just want to let you know that my A1C went down from 5.7 to 5.6 yesterday. And my NP asked me if I was still taking my insulin daily. And I told her not, since just before I saw her last time over 4 months ago. So she took me off.
Yay!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Good work.
All right. This is good.
So
Okay.
5.7 is officially pre-diabetes. 5.6 is non-diabetic. That's why that everybody might be listening and going, well, what's the big deal? Well, that's kind of a big deal. Then that's why, gosh, you don't need insulin if you're non-diabetic, right?
I love this note too. They said, I did not have the heart to tell her that I had no plan on taking it again. That's okay. That's good. Okay. Let's see. Done with that one. Just a note here about the double vision. This person had double vision from a ruptured brain aneurysm.
Oh, okay. So for a brain aneurysm, there may be some damage to somewhere. I don't know where that aneurysm was, to somewhere in the brain. So what do you do to repair the brain? And that's a different issue. We should do like a whole webinar on brain repair. Several of the things is having our 610 reset, having a good circadian rhythm is something that helps the lymphatic in the brain to work and to clean out the brain and to initiate repair. And then you can try the benfotiamine and alpha lipoic acid, Nervala, because Nervala helps both it's primarily for the peripheral nervous system, for the circulation, but the alpha lipoic acid will also help the central nervous system.
Okay. All right. I'm going to see if I can find some stuff here in the chat. It won't let me go all the way back. But someone had asked, is there a treatment for stomach ulcer and Barrett's esophagus or Barrett's?
Okay. So stomach ulcer and Barrett's esophagus are indications that there's an issue here with your stomach. There may be other things going on. So what you need to do is find out why you're making so much acid, because that acid production is eating holes in your stomach and eating up your esophagus. So let me give you some ideas, some things to think about. People who have high levels of histamine from allergies, from eosinophilic esophagitis, for example. Some people are sensitive to histamine. They have histamine intolerance where they don't make an enzyme that breaks it down. So histamine allergies, that could be one problem. Another thing that could help is just eating 2 meals a day and not having any snacks, so that you only make acid twice a day. And then, so that's an intermittent fasting. So you eat at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. and that's it. And so, and that can often be helpful. But if you're having ulcers and Barrett's esophagus, there's something there that it'll be important to find out why you have that. Because there's adrenal problems that can cause that. Pituitary gland problems can cause that. So start finding the answers of why.
All right, really good question here from Raul. What is happening to the body when you take metformin?
Oh, okay. So nobody knows all of the things that metformin does, but there are some specific things that we know, and that is that it inhibits an enzyme in the mitochondria that blocks you from using sugar for energy efficiently. So it builds up something called cyclic AMP, and that that is a signal to the body to say, oh my gosh, there's not enough sugar around. We should start using fat for energy. So it turns on your fat burning metabolism. And so you can get fat into the cells, into the mitochondria, and you can start making energy from fat instead of always having the sugar. Because that's one of the issues, with diabetes, is high insulin blocks you from using fat for energy, but the metformin works around that. So that's what's going on. Some people, there was another type of metformin that was marketed a long time ago, and they took it off the market because it was so strong it would block that enzyme too strongly, and so people would get muscle breakdown and they would get liver hepatitis, liver inflammation because the mitochondria wouldn't work because of that. So metformin is kind of like the moderate, just enough to block it, to make this added cyclic AMP to make you start using fat for energy.
Okay. Let's see. Joe did send a link about the CinnaChroma warehouse sale. So make sure you check it out in the chat. And Aileen said, when I first started out, I didn't drink enough water. It's important to drink the water with the pills. Then drink the remaining water in the bottle slowly over a few minutes, 1 pint in all. It worked well for me. Here's a
Good
funny
idea.
message. Dave and Cindy, they want to know if the Barton logo t-shirts and sweatshirts are available to purchase, Joe. You guys,
Yeah.
I actually was thinking about that today. We should do that. And also I was using something and got like bleach on my sweatshirt. So I even need a new one.
Oh man.
So, I know we should do that.
If you're on the Barton team, definitely we hook you up with the merch and the swag. But boy, to add that next level to our favorite customers and webinar guests, like it's going to take some effort for sure. But hey, if any of you guys are good at what do we need? Marketing, operations, tech. We maybe have a job for you. Then we can hook you up with some merch too. Now we'll work on that for sure.
That'd be good. They're nice. They are. I really love this. I love this sweatshirt, and Joe's wearing a really nice hoodie. There's some fun stuff. So
Yeah, I need
it.
one. Every time I bring one home from a retreat, my kids borrow it, and I never see it again.
Oh,
Yep.
that sounds like my sock problem.
Yeah,
Isaiah.
I got that too.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, good stuff. What else we got here, Leslie?
Here's a good question from Ron. He says, I'm new with this program, but this all sounds so familiar to me. I want to know how to determine individual supplement levels for me. Who determines and when?
Okay. Individual supplement levels. Okay. So there, we were talking about how they were formulated and why. And each one is formulated. If you take one a day, it's a physiologic dose, it's adequate. So if you take one a day of CinnaChroma, you're going to get enough vitamin D. You don't need any other vitamin D supplement, enough selenium, enough chromium, enough vanadium, enough vitamin K. You don't need any other supplements. So that's enough. So how do you know if you need more? Well, like, for example, somebody had just said, well, I'm taking 2 twice a day and I get really good blood sugar control from that. So I wouldn't recommend more than 2 twice a day. So how do you know? You could, if you have somebody who is knowledgeable about supplements, you could go to a professional who's knowledgeable and say, okay, these are my doses. What should I take? Because you can do tests and see what your vitamin D levels are on your 1 a day, for example. And they say, that's not enough. No, you need 2 a day. Okay.
All right. One more question here from Raul. We didn't talk a whole lot about magnesium, but he wants some more information about it. Why might someone with type 2 benefit from magnesium?
Oh, magnesium is so important. Magnesium is part of so many enzymes, and it's absolutely necessary for energy production. Magnesium is needed for the muscles to work, for nerves to work. It's just that important that you have to have enough magnesium. And it's a very common deficiency. A lot of people are deficient in magnesium. I test, and not everybody, but a quarter, 25% of people are deficient in magnesium that I test. So, it's a common need, and it's hard to get too much, because if you take too much, you'll just get diarrhea. So it's worth taking.
And that's why we have one of the reasons why we have the transdermal spray is because your body will only absorb, as much as it needs, as opposed to taking too much, right?
Yeah, can't get diarrhea from that.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, magnesium is considered an electrolyte, right? Like, what are electrolytes, and like, why do we need them? Because I think we told a story, or somebody told me, about how if you have too much water, like, too much of anything can be bad for you. And if you have too much water, it can really mess up your electrolyte balance, and like the whole, we have electricity in us. So what's an electrolyte?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, I had a woman almost die from drinking too much water. She and people have died from drinking too much water, and that's exactly what happens. The electrolytes are the positive ions. Well, that's also the chloride, the negative ion that balances it. But it's primarily in our bodies the positive ions that we use for electricity. That's what runs our body. It makes everything work, just like the electricity in your computer or in your motor in your Tesla or whatever. That's a negative charge, and we use positive charges, but it's still a charge, and there's a potential difference. So inside the cell, you've got a lot of potassium, and outside the cell, you have a very little amount of potassium. And so there's this difference that the osmolarity, wants to go this way, wants to move to make everything equal, right? And it wants to equilibrate everything. And so that's the force that's being used to run every cell in your body and make everything function. So when you deplete that, guess what? Things just don't work. So if any of you have ever had Epstein-Barr virus poisons the potassium pump so that you can't pump all that high potassium in the cells and low potassium out of the cells. So there's lower potassium in the cells. So now instead of running on 100 volts, you're running on 50 volts or 20 volts, and you can't even get out of bed. You go, oh my gosh, I'm so fatigued. I can't even move. I can't get out of bed. Why not? Because there's no energy. There's no potential difference. It's just like you got this light bulb that's supposed to run on 110 volts, and you connect up to 50 volts and it's like really dim. You're going, gosh, I need some more power out of that. No, you got to have the right voltage or it's not going to work. That's exactly the way your body works. And so that's what the electrolytes are. That's all the voltage that's running your body, that's making your nerves propagate an impulse all the way from your muscles to your brain and back. All that happens because of electrolytes, including magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium. Those are the 4 primary electrolytes.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I know we're out of time here. We've had a few more questions that have come in, but we'll just say, hey, join us next time, everyone. We'll get to more of your questions. Also, go back to visit bartonwebinar.com, click on our YouTube link. Dr. Saunders, we'll say goodbye so you can go see your patients.
Bye.
Thank you. You're awesome. So yeah, if you have additional questions, we have a plethora of videos recorded. YouTube channel is Barton Webinar. You can click on bartonwebinar.com, visit YouTube from that link, and have have fun watching past recordings. So we've got is this number 140 today?
141.
141. All right. That takes me back to my accounting days. There's a form number for taxes, quarterly taxes. What in the world? Where'd that come from? But yeah, go back and watch, the recordings. You can even put it on 1.5 speed if you would like. You can get through them a little faster. But lots of great questions today. Couldn't get to all of them, but I just want to encourage you, if you're on the journey to reversing type 2, keep up the good work. I hope that you've enjoyed this hour of our webinar and heard some encouraging reports from others. And just so you know, like, this stuff actually works. Everything that you'll find in the diabetes solution kit is tested and proven and works. You just got to follow the instructions, hang in there. Don't beat yourself up if you have a bad day. Just make the next day a better day. Do as much as you can in the different areas of diet and exercise, sleep, stress reduction, supplementation, and community. So community is a big thing as well. That's why another reason why we do these webinars, because we get to interact with you, and we love to have the chat. And someday we got to open up, like, let's see everybody who's willing to show their faces on video, and just so we can all like wave at each other or something. But it's good stuff. Also, you may have seen this on a previous webinar, but we talked about the Healing House in Arizona that is now launched and ready and going forward. And we are going to do a health retreat with Dr. Saunders in person in Arizona, August 18th through the 21st, I believe. And if you're interested in that, we still have space available. It's very limited availability. It's not cheap, but it's the value that you're going to get is unparalleled. Imagine spending 3.5 days with Dr. Saunders and with some of us and other friends that you'll get to meet from this this forum right here. Eating healthy, learning, practicing all the different things, learning more about the supplements, going on nature walks, soaking in the sunshine, going for a dip in the pool, and enjoying kind of like a vacation / immersion experience of health and amazingness. So yeah, shoot Leslie an email at leslie@bartonpublishing.com. Tell her you're interested, and then we will schedule a call to tell you more about it. and all that good stuff. So anyways, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Leslie, fantastic job. Even through the internet loss period, I somehow managed to cover partly, but anything that I didn't get to, I get to blame you now for. So
Yeah, I know.
All right. So next Wednesday, we'll be back. What time? 1 p.m. Central Time, Lord willing. All right.
Good stuff.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. God bless.